Hey everyone. So, for the last couple weeks, it looks like the New York Times has been slowly releasing the results of their votes for the 100 best films of the 21st century, if that even is such a thing. Um, People have been talking about it, people have been posting their reactions and reviews of this list and all that sort of thing. I guess how they did this was they interviewed or they asked a lot of directors and actors and big Hollywood names to submit 10 of their films, and through that, they were able to select the best 100. Now, I don't know if you're new to this channel, but my feeling about ranked movie lists is summed up pretty well in this tweet from Josh Trank a few years ago, which says that ranked lists on movie websites continue to seed young film fans with fascist energy, making them grow up to ridicule art, have unintentionally arbitrary taste patterns and closed minds, while feeding an algorithm that closes doors to anything different or challenging. And that's kind of how I feel about any kind of ranked movie list. I don't feel like there is such a thing as good or bad movies. I feel there's rather cause and effect. This movie makes a choice, and that choice makes me feel this way. That isn't good or bad because, again, it's all just your personal taste. But in the spirit of hypocrisy, I am going to go onto their website because they have their own section where you can cast your vote and select your top 10 films of the decade or of the 21st century. So, yeah, in the spirit of hypocrisy, I will be taking part of a system that I have been complaining about for years. So, come with me as I become part of the problem. So, looks like here is the website where you can vote on your 10 favorite films of all time, or since the year 2000. Again, I'm being very hypocritical here, but I think these kind of things are a little silly. But I goes without saying, this is all my personal taste, because I really don't think that there is such a thing as a good or a bad film. And so this is just a fun little exercise in thinking about, I guess, 10 movies that I love. That's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. 10 movies that I really like that have been released since the year 2000. I'm probably going to struggle. I didn't plan this out or anything. I'm just going to, my unfiltered thoughts here, and this might be a total disaster, but hey, we'll find out. When I think about 10 movies that have been released since 2000, something that comes to mind is Inland Empire. Y'all should know that I'm a big David Lynch fan, or I guess us at Doom Production. Oh, that's kind of cool looking. Look at that. 100 best movies of the 21st century. That's cool. Yeah, so Inland Empire, great movie. David Lynch is, I'm tempted to say his best, but it's so close. Like I feel like it's his best, but I know that's a movie that loses a lot of people. But again, this is just my opinion. I really love Inland Empire and how he made it. It reminds me of how we make movies at Doom Productions and just all of our internet friends, because it was, a lot of that was just David Lynch with the camera, messing around with this little Sony mini DV camera, and I find it really inspiring. Just the story of how he made it and the flexibility of the digital film format, I think, is super cool. How a big Hollywood, well, I guess he wasn't, I don't know, he was Hollywood adjacent at the very least, but someone within Hollywood in that system, adopting digital technology in the way that he did. And, you know, the visuals in this are stunning, they're really striking, and you could tell he had a lot of room to get dreamy and play around, and it's really cool. And yeah, what else? And again, I have no really criteria to this. Like, I'm not trying to think like, oh, this is the most important movie of the 21st century, or this one did this, or this is purely just my opinion of my favorites and stuff I really like. And I guess I would put, okay, here's another one. Is this not on here? What? Hold on. Maybe it's in the Spanish title. I might have spelt that wrong. I think the accent goes the other way. No? Wait, how do you spell poesia? Don't I feel silly now? Don't use Google Translate, but it's good for spelling. Oh, it wasn't over the E, it was over the I. I'm an idiot. It's not on here. Oh my gosh. What about this other? Okay. Endless Poetry was a movie by Alejandro Jodorowsky. It was the second of his autobiographical films that he made after he took his long hiatus. Pretty much after directing Dune. Well, he made other movies since Dune, like Santa Sangre and that sort of thing, and The Rainbow Thief, I think that was his other one. But after his long hiatus and working in comic books, he came back and he did a movie called Dance of Reality, and then he did Endless Poetry. I'm trying to add Endless Poetry, but it's not on here. Will it have a picture if I want to say 2017. Can I add that? Oh, but it doesn't have a picture. That doesn't look as good. You know what? If it's not on here, if it doesn't exist according to the New York Times, I guess it's not a real movie. So I'll play their game. Okay, Endless Poetry's out the window. Do they have Dance of Reality though? They do. Okay, I'm gonna put that in there too. Dance of Reality. That's so weird and so arbitrary. I wonder because it's clearly not. They're not using IMDb or the movie database for where they're getting their movies. They're getting it somewhere else. Maybe these are all just what's already been voted. I don't know. See what I mean by this whole award system is arbitrary? Totally ridiculous. I guess that's my reference or my limitation for today. If it's not on, if there's no picture, I'm not gonna put it on here because again, this is all arbitrary. Yeah, but Dance of Reality and Endless Poetry, they're very similar in style. Jodorowsky uses a lot of evocative visuals and imagery, and he's really good at composing really beautiful frames that feel like this. The frames itself, the shots themselves feel like a work of art, but when strung together, it creates a really interesting experience. And I like the experiences that watching his movies feel. So, big fan of him. The next one that comes to mind, this is not necessarily in order, again. These are just 10 movies that I really like that have been made since the 21st century. I'll go The Wind Rises. Is that going to be... Okay, thank goodness. That's a Studio Ghibli movie directed by Hayao Miyazaki. I'm a big fan of Ghibli, and I did a really long watch through of The Wind Rises on this channel, actually, and I did a commentary about why I think it's a great movie. I'm not going to rehash any of that, but I think this is the best Studio Ghibli movie, hands down, period. And I will not accept any arguments. I mean, you can argue it, other movies in the comments, that's fine, but I feel strongly that The Wind Rises is the best Studio Ghibli movie, and I made a 2-hour video talking about it, so I'm not going to get into that now, but I'm going to go The Wind Rises. What else? It's so weird. I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on the idea that they didn't have that other movie in. Now I'm gonna second guess everything. Like, if I try to add it, will it not let me? Or will it not exist? I'm kind of scared for all these. Just because I'm curious, because something... Okay, I would also like to put Twin Peaks: The Return, because that was shot as a feature film, and I think TV and film and short films, that's all the same thing. And if we're really giving this award thing the full scope of what it means to be the best or whatever, to encapsulate everything, I think we should include television to a certain extent. So I'm curious if we can add TV, but I would argue, I think the Twin Peaks: The Return was a really good, incredible show. In fact, I think it was the Cahiers du Cinema voted it as the best film of the year years ago. Twin Peaks. No. Is that Under the Return? No. Okay. That's really sad. So no TV. Do they have short films? Let's see if they have short films. There's a really beautiful short film called... I think it's Louise. I think it's with an S. I don't think they have it. Am I spelling it wrong? Hold on, let's check. This one, from Goblin Paris. Yeah, I spelled it right. Okay, that's super frustrating. Again, so no short films, because I guess that, according to the New York Times, and therefore industry by extension, short films don't count as movies, which is unfortunate, because there's been a lot of great short films that have been released. But if you haven't seen Louise, it's a really gorgeous animated film that kind of draws inspiration from Edgar Degas. but it's not just like a celebration of dance. It kind of goes into the darker aspects of what it meant to be a ballerina at that time in Paris. So this is a beautiful film, and that's really sad that they don't include short films on here. Gosh, now as I'm going through this, I'm like, oh gosh, this is all ridiculous. Like, this is so arbitrary. Why am I doing this? But the content must go on, I guess. I wonder if it was made by Disney. Would they count it? Destino. They don't have this one either. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, Destino is another beautiful short film. It was going to be a collaboration between Salvador Dali and Walt Disney, which didn't happen at the time when they were both alive. But then, and I think around the year 2000, 2001 or so, they got together and they finished it. The company, the Walt Disney Company. And it's a beautiful film. I really love it. And it's not a movie. We'll proceed. You know, okay. Sorry. I feel like this whole thing's going to turn to me ranting. But, like, it's really interesting how much value the industry puts in feature films. And yet, what film schools in the industry would tell you is you need to make a ton of short films and like, they just pump your head full of these notion that, like, you have to work on short films because you won't be ready to do a feature unless you do shorts, which is true to an extent. I'm not arguing that, but it's interesting that in the end, when it comes to the audience, how like little the art of the short film is valued. You know what I mean? Like, because short films are filmmaking. It is a film, so it's kind of, I don't know. Again, it feels weird and arbitrary and kind of like, ugh. I feel annoyed that short films are not counted as, what it doesn't count on this, but whatever, we'll proceed. So far this is going terribly because I've only gotten 3 films down and I've misspelled a lot of things in front of you all, so now I'm embarrassed too. But again, let's go on. Okay, okay, y'all are gonna laugh at me. Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, there we go, baby. I'm a prequel apologist. Sorry. I love Revenge of the Sith. I think it's an absolutely beautiful movie. I think that the artwork that went into making of this, the combined disciplines of acting, of directing, of blocking, staging, cinematography, photography, sculpture making, CGI rendering, costume designing, music, choreography, and dance, all of those things are on display in Revenge of the Sith in a really beautiful way, like as a work of art. Like, I really feel like there's a lot of individual shots in Revenge of the Sith that you could have on a loop and like project them as their own like little video art installation pieces. And I think it's really beautiful. I think that if you are not down with the dialogue and the acting, all that sort of thing, you're watching the Star Wars films wrong. Because again, I think when it comes to the acting and directing and the writing, again, Lucas does not care about the dialogue. He does not care about the writing. What he cares about is the cinematic experience of visuals and light moving across the screen and the pacing of that and how that experience is created through editing. And dialogue, he said this many times, dialogue is purely it's an element in the soundtrack rather than an important aspect of his movies, because ideally these movies are designed to be silent films, so you should be able to turn off the dialogue, turn off the sound, to be able to understand Star Wars, and that's all the dialogue is. And so if you go into this movie and you like knock it, like if you like say, oh, this movie wasn't very good because of the dialogue, the movie was never trying to be Aaron Sorkin. It wasn't trying to be Quentin Tarantino. It wasn't trying to be, Nora Ephron or whatever. The movie is not trying to use dialogue in the same way that other movies do. And I think it's unfair to judge a movie on something that it's not trying to do. Because again, you wouldn't go to a horror film if you hate horror films and say, that movie was too violent. That doesn't make sense. Because it's a horror film. It's going to be a little violent. Same thing, Revenge of the Sith. I think if you go into it and you're like taken aback by the act, it's fine to be, it is an adjustment to watch this style of acting and the dialogue. It's a weird adjustment, but that's not what the movie's trying to do. The movie's trying to be a different experience. And George Lucas has talked about this a ton, whether it be about the music or the dialogue acting like the music, the style of the movies that he's kind of going for here. I won't get into all of that here. Maybe I'll put some quotes from Lucas on the screen, but I think Revenge of the Sith is a brilliant movie and one of the best works of art of the 21st century. I said it. I'm moving on now before I start ranting again. Y'all can argue with me in the comments. That's fine. You know, I know one. This isn't my favorite Edward Yang film, but it is a brilliant movie nonetheless. Yi Yi. I've talked about this video or this film on my channel on this channel before. Brilliant 3-hour drama film by Edward Yang. I think A Brighter Summer Day, that's probably, this one edges this one out just a little bit in my opinion, but I love them both, and Yi Yi is a brilliant movie as well. I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. His framing, his use of blocking, staging, the performances he gets out of actors, going from like talking about the very over-the-top grand Star Wars performances, going to something like Yi Yi is very different because Yi Yi is very natural. It feels very real. It's just a great examination of a family in these transitional periods of a marriage and life and death and birth and all that sort of thing. It's a brilliant, wonderful movie that I think it's well known among film fans. It's kind of a probably basic choice to put on my list, but like amongst kind of casual audiences, I think more people need to see it because I've talked about this before. I really connect to drama films that come out of like Hong Kong and Taiwan because there's a big influence of slow cinema there, and I really like how they do drama films. I think in America, the way drama is depicted in Hollywood, it feels very artificial and superficial and doesn't feel quite real, and it feels like the screenwriter is just trying to manipulate things to make us cry or feel different things. And I kind of feel like I can see the strings in a Hollywood drama, whereas in Yi Yi, I don't feel any of that. I feel like I am just watching this real kind of story play out in front of us. Gosh, I feel like all the movies that I would pick are not going to be on here at all. Because they don't have a short film from Disney. They're not going to have like, you know, unknown avant-garde stuff. I'm going to put Burning 2018. This is an awesome movie. I can't remember the director's name. It's escaping me right now, but it's got Steven Yeun in it. It's a Korean film. I don't want to say too much about what it's about because I think the less you know going into it, the better. Because it is a very slow burn of a movie, but if you stick with it, like it clings to you, it haunts you, and you will think about this movie after you watch it. So I would recommend anyone to watch Burning. That's a fantastic film. Steven Yeun has a really good performance in it. I think it's his first movie he's done in Korean because he's obviously an American actor or Korean American actor. So seeing him in a total Korean production was really interesting, and he does a really good job at it. But yeah, check out Burning. Let's see. Let's do... This is hard. Okay. Ooh, I know one. They should have this. We need to talk about Kevin. Okay. I'll kind of select this. I think this is my favorite of Lin Ramsay's. But I'll kind of pick this one as the representative of Lin Ramsay's work as a whole, because I think she is one of the best filmmakers working today, and it's really sad that she doesn't have a lot of stuff that's like, she doesn't work as frequently, like she doesn't have as many movies. There's a lot of time that passes between her productions. I think it's been almost 10 years since her last one, and she's got a new one coming out this year, which I'm hyped about. But her style, I mean, the best way to describe it is like her movies are visual poetry. They're more narrative than like total experimental stuff. She's still working in the framework of a narrative feature film, but the way she edits her films together, the shots that she chooses are so compelling. And We Need to Talk About Kevin is a great film. It's about a school shooter, but it's everything that leads up to the shooting and then everything after. It never really depicts the school shooting. So it's a really interesting look about this mom and her son who went on to shoot up a school. I think it was with a bow and arrow. But yeah, great movie. Really good. Ratcatcher is also very good. You Wish You Were Here or I Wish You Were Here. She did one with Joaquin Phoenix, which is really good as well. But yeah, all of her films are really, really well done. In fact, she has a really good short film. I can't remember what it's called, but it's about a swimmer. And it's like someone swimming. And that one's really beautiful. And I highly doubt they have that one too. But so I'm not even going to try to add it. But yeah, what else? What else? I have 3 more. I feel so sad too, because it's like I'll leave stuff off the list that like, you know, they're good movies. I feel sad for my other faves that, you know, won't make the list. But I guess the movies don't really have opinions or feelings. Gosh, okay. The thing that comes to mind is like the Evangelion Rebuilds series, like the 4th one in particular. I think it's an awesome movie. And it does a lot of really interesting stuff visually and cinematically at the end, and it's a beautiful kind of send off to that series. I don't know if I like it more than some of these other stuff. I still love it. I don't know. If it was End of Eva, it would absolutely be on here, but I think End of Eva was released in 99 or 97 or something like that. So let me just rattle off the list that I'm thinking about. Mad God by Phil Tippett, I think is really good. They're recent movies, so it's kind of like, I feel kind of like a fake fan or whatever, like it's just recency bias, but I don't care. It's I saw the TV Glow, I thought was brilliant. I liked Oppenheimer quite a bit. The Lighthouse I really like. Climax I really liked. First Reformed I really liked. Handmaiden, The Eyes of My Mother, Grand Budapest Hotel, Holy Motors, Mandy, Lord of the Rings, In the Mood for Love. That's a basic choice. And see, if I was really lazy, I could just put like these 3, just have them be Lord of the Rings, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be lazy. So I'm not going to put Lord of the Rings on here, even though I love it. I'll put The Eyes of My Mother, because that's a lesser known film that I think is really, really good. It's kind of a horror film, I guess. It's not a super art avant-garde film, but it's not quite just a typical horror film. But it's a really interesting look that almost plays out like a fable, it feels like. So I'd recommend The Eyes of My Mother. And again, I'm not going to say much about that, because I think the less you know about it, the better. Gosh, all down 2 more. What do I pick? Let's do The Handmaiden. I love Park Chan-wook. He's another one of my favorite filmmakers. I'll kind of pick this as the representative of him and his body of work. Obviously, he did the Violence trilogy, or was it the Vengeance trilogy, I think. You know, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Old Boy, Sympathy for Lady Vengeance. All 3 of those are brilliant films. The Handmaiden, though, I think that's a like perfect movie in my book. So I'll kind of pick that as the representative of him. Yeah, I really liked the Handmaiden. That's a great film. Don't watch it with your parents. I'll say that. No, just don't watch it with your parents. Okay, I got one more. One more, everybody. I'm not gonna put In the Mood for Love, although I love that movie. It feels like I'd be too basic if I put that, so I'm not gonna put that. Same thing I see with those are all kind of like that. Those kind of cool indie hipster kind of picks. I feel like, even though they're not really indie movies, they feel like that kind of. So I feel kind of bad. Here's what I'll pick: Mad God. Because I only picked one other animated film, and it's a movie more people should see, and I don't think enough people have seen it. Even though it's a little bit more recent. I mean, this is about the 21st century, and we're only 25 years into it, so yeah, kind of an interesting group of movies here, but I think I can live with this. So yeah, there's my votes for not the best 10 movies, but like these are some of my favorite movies that have been released since the year 2000, because again, they did not have a picture and an entry for all of the movies that I would have picked. If I were to pick my actual top 10, that would look probably different. And also, again, like I said before, there is no such thing as a good or a bad movie. It's all cause and effect. It's all arbitrary. It's all personal taste. So, you know, don't get too mad if, you know, you're looking through the lists and everything of all the people on there and like one of your films didn't make the top 10. It's all just kind of, I'm just doing this to have fun and to be a hypocrite, because again, like I said, these kind of top 10 ranked lists, you run the risk at creating a very kind of sinister energy with film fans that makes them very close-minded and not very open to new experiences, and give them arbitrary tastes. So yeah, there's my top 10. Have you seen any of these? If you've seen any of them, let me know what you think. If you haven't, go check these out and let me know what your top 10 movies would be of the year, since the year 2000. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. If you're interested in seeing some awesome movies that would definitely not be on here, you can check out our channel. We have more than a couple feature films that we've made on this channel. We just released Coalescence and Little Black Submarines, but we have a new feature film coming out later this year called Happy Halloween. And yeah, so hit subscribe if you want to stay up to date on that. And thanks, everybody.